Saturday, June 3rd, 1893, 10 people, including the world-famous composer Antonin Dvorak, set out for Spillville by train. Dvorak had been living in New York. He was born in a small village 45 miles north of Prague in 1841. By the time he became the director of the National Conservatory of Music in New York, he had already achieved world fame. While in New York, Dvorak wrote his famous symphony, From the New World. The symphony was composed between January 10th and May 24th, 1893. The music is an expression of the agitating effect of life in a new environment. But Dvorak desperately wanted to return to Bohemia. His busy schedule would not allow such a long voyage, so he decided to spend the summer in the Czech community of Spillville. On Monday, June 5th, around 10 a.m., they reached their last stop, here, at the Kalmar train depot, where they were greeted by the Reverend Thomas Belli of Spillville. A carriage took them the last 5 miles to Spillville. Father Belli had secured lodging with a German, Mr. Schmidt. The house seen here consisted of 8 rooms. Dvorak and his family occupied the top floor. Dvorak was inspired by nature. His music reflected the call of birds or the gentle flowing of a stream. He would get up at 4 o'clock in the morning for a solitary walk along the Little Turkey River. Of his walks he says, "Nothing happened, and yet a great deal. Imagine, I was walking there in the woods along by the stream, and after 8 months I heard again the singing of birds. And here the birds are different from ours. They have much brighter colors, and they sing differently too." He usually returned by 5. By 7, he was sitting at the organ, seen here, just above the doorway in St. Wenceslas Church. Almost every afternoon he spent in the company of some of the older settlers. They told him of their bitter and difficult beginnings in America. While in Spillville, Dvorak wrote F major string quartet, opus 96, and E-flat major string quintet, opus 97. Both works reflect a mood of happy contentment. On Friday, September 15th, 1893, just a day before leaving Spillville, Dvorak writes to his friend, Dr. Kozanek, "The 3 months spent here in Spillville will remain a happy memory for the rest of our lives. We enjoyed being here and were very happy, though we found the 3 months of heat rather trying. It was made up to us, however, by being among our own people, our Czech countrymen, and that gave us great joy. If it had not been for that, we should not have come here at all. Spillville is a purely Czech settlement, founded by a certain Bavarian, a German, Spielmann, who christened the place Spillville. He died 4 years ago, and in the morning when I went to church, my way took me past his grave, and strange thoughts always fill my mind at the sight of it, as of the graves of many other Czech countrymen who sleep their last sleep here. It is very strange here. Few people and a great deal of empty space. A farmer's nearest neighbor is often 4 miles off, especially in the prairies. I call them the Sahara. There are only endless acres of field and meadow, and that is all you see. You don't meet a soul. Here they only ride on horseback, and you are glad to see in the woods and meadows the huge herds of cattle which, summer and winter, are out at pasture in the broad fields. Men go to the woods and meadows where the cows graze, to milk them, and so it is very wild here, and sometimes very sad. Sad to despair. I know that, as for my new symphony, the F major string quartet, and the quintet, composed here in Spillville, I should never have written these works just so if I hadn't seen America. Dvorak only spent the summer of 1893 in Spillville. He died in 1904. A memorial now sits in Riverside Park, where the composer strolled in the early morning hours. 50 years after his visit, on Thursday, July 1st, 1943, the Decorah Journal ran an article announcing the 50th wedding anniversary of Rosa and Matthias Kinkor. The article states that Dvorak played the wedding march during the ceremony held on June 27, 1893 in St. Wenceslas Church. Dvorak was interested in comparing the weddings in this country to those of the old country. The house where Dvorak stayed is now a museum for the famous Belli brothers clocks. The upstairs portion now houses a Dvorak museum.